Okay, guys, we're going to talk a second on dilution. So, this guy, you all know him probably, the prodigy, hardly, posted something. Let's see if we can't find it real quick. And I'm going to talk about it. I mean, this is giving the information that he posted. So he posted a little picture of the SEC filing. But this, he's saying dilution is decided. And basically his evidence is the SEC filing from July 13th, where they say Mickery has at least 29.1% of the vote and a max of 45.5% of the vote. And let's talk about that for a second. So the June 9th filing, which was I believe June 2nd was the record date for owning shares to vote, said that there was 477 million shares outstanding. Now, if we take the 160 million that it said he had, and we take the 477 million, comes out to 33%. He may have had 150 million. Let's see what that comes out to, 31%. So they're 29% to 45%. Has something to do with along these lines. Now, at the same time, the very same day, it may have been the following Monday, that the outstanding shares was updated to 477 million. Ortex updated the float to 407 million. So there was only 70 million shares left over that insiders and institutions could own. So if you read the filing, especially the one that he posted, it clearly stated that, let's see how easy it is to find. I don't know where in this filing it is. Let's see if I can't zoom real quick and find it. Okay, so right here. For illustration purposes only, if all shares of common stock are subject to the PSA agreement were to become fully vested, outstanding and held by Mr. Mishry as of the record date, and 2, there were no other dilutive events of any kind, we estimate that Mr. Mickery would have an economic interest in approximately 24.9% of outstanding shares of the company's common stock, an increase of 23.2% in voting power over 45.5% of the outstanding shares of the company stock with regard to the matters covered by voting agreements, an increase of 16%. So what did it say? It said if there were no other dilutive events of any kind. Well, when it shows in the filing of June 9th that he owned 160 million shares, but then it shows that the float is 407 million shares based off the same SEC filing. Same time it updated was the time we got the SEC filing, which means they're using the same numbers from the SEC filing that matched in the Ortex outstanding shares and the SEC filing on June 9th. Well, it looks like there was a dilutive event, so he lost whatever he diluted to retail at that time. Now, the whole argument behind this would be, like, check this out. Think about how illegal this is. So if this is how they win the vote, and if they do win the vote, and it's based off this, it's the most illegal thing that's ever happened, and we will dominate them in a lawsuit. Any jury will look at this and be like, that is a scam. So check this out. If David Mickery dumped himself 200 million shares and said, this is the record date, I have these 200 million shares at the record date, and then use those 200 million shares to dilute all the way up into the vote, and no longer have an interest in those shares, but then use those 200 million shares to dilute against retail and stop the stock price from squeezing, and then get the more dilution and never let it squeeze in the future, That is the most conniving, evil, illegal. And again, it doesn't have to be illegal where he goes to jail. It has to be illegal where a jury looks at that and says they did that to steal money from retail. If they didn't have done that, if they wouldn't have done that, then retail would have, if he would have held his 200 million shares and not diluted them, retail would have closed way before the vote, because we're going to find out here in a second that we already own 500 million shares. Or the flip side, if he only gave himself the shares that he was willing to buy and actually hold on to, and then it goes to the vote and we vote no and then get the squeeze, like, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway you look at this, we can't lose, people. Like, it's the most illegal thing they would ever do if they voted. Like, unless retail votes for dilution, we're not getting dilution. And if somehow magically we do, I think we're going to win way more money that way. Like, I almost hope they're that stupid. I really just want to take my profits and, like, start building the new life and focus on my mission and change the world and all those good things. But, like, man, you better not be selling and you better be buying more. You can't lose, people. It's a sure thing. Come on now.